Hey everyone! I am so excited because today I get to interview Catie DiMaggio all about creating an exceptional guest experience in your salon or spa and how to build revenue with retail and upselling and add-ons. Catie, this is such a good subject and I'm so pumped up that you're here to teach us about it.
Thanks. I'm so excited that I can have this platform to educate people. It's
Yay.
awesome.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know you, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, your businesses, and also how you help beauty business owners.
Yeah, so I'm Katie. I am a mom, I am a wife, and I'm also a salon owner. So I have two salons here in my hometown. And one of them has a bunch of booth renters, amazing women there. And then I also have a salon where I service clients as well, and I have four employees. And I'm an esthetician. I've been an esthetician for, I think it's been 5 years, I think in February. And my business just grew so quickly when I first started. And I had a lot of inquiries for how did you do it? How can I do that? How can I really maximize my business? And so I got into coaching and mentoring and offering trainings. I absolutely love lash lifts, and I specialize in teaching on lash lifts. And so I do hands-on training, but I also do a lot of business mentoring and coaching. And 1 to 2 days a week, I am still in the treatment room taking clients.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us about your passion for creating the ultimate guest experience and about building revenue and creating a better experience through upsells and add-ons. Like, why did this become your passion, and how has it completely transformed your businesses?
Yeah, so I have a customer service background. I got my first job working in retail when I was 17. And so I have been in sales for a very long time, probably like 15 years if I'm doing the math correctly. And so that's just kind of just my nature of who I am. I love to make sure that people know everything that's a possibility for them. But I also want to do it in a way to where I'm genuine about it. I
Mhm.
would never, offer a service or an item that's not beneficial for the client. And so through my customer service experience in retail, I just learned to add on. I learned that I had goals I had to hit, and if I didn't put the work in to meet those goals, I wasn't going to reach them. So I really just became super passionate about making sure that clients knew that it was a buy one get one. You gotta tell them. And I think a lot of times as a service provider, as your own boss, and we like to just kind of do what the client wants, and we forget that we are running a business, because I think
Mhm.
we most of the time lack the confidence to put ourselves out there and to talk about all of the services that we offer. But realistically, just like my days in retail, if they didn't know that we had a special going on, then they weren't going to, take that and do that. So it's the same thing when you're in the treatment room. If your client doesn't know that you do waxing or that you do facials or that you do these things, they're not going to book those services, which is really going to cap in your income. It's really going to You're kind of selling yourself short by
Yeah.
not talking about that. And so I feel like as a client myself, no, I don't like to be sold to, but I like to be told like, hey, you have a breakout right now and I have high frequency and here's the benefits. It would totally be beneficial to you
Mhm.
if you add it on to your facial today, or you have amazing lashes. Have you ever had a lash lift before? And really opening up the door for conversation on that, not necessarily like, hey, do you want to add a brow wax on? More so like, hey, where do you go to get your brows done? And do you love how your artist waxes them? Or, you're already here. Let's just take advantage of the time that you're here and wax your brows really quick. So I
Yeah.
think it's playing more into how it benefits the client. And I want to be genuine about it. I don't want to sell them necessarily, but I also want them to know that you're already here. Let's just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about the guest experience? So, how has having a really great guest experience impacted your businesses?
Yeah, so I recently, last year, my salon won Best of Ventura County, reader recommended. So we did win best of, which kind of speaks for itself in the sense that our experience and what we do here is exactly what clients are looking for. And my goal is not to have to work towards building a new clientele all of the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go out and find new clients all of the time, especially when I'm building a clientele for my employees. So I do have 3 estheticians. I have 1 receptionist, but I've built the books for 3 employees. I do have 2 past employees as well that I've built books for. And so it does speak volumes when I'm able to build these clienteles so quickly. And I want to make my clients feel important. I want to make them feel valued and appreciated and special, because I think in life, a lot of us live our lives like, pay attention to me, notice me. It's a natural human desire to want to be paid attention to want to be talked to want to be listened to. And so my space in the treatment room is just that. I am here for my clients, not just to give them a treatment or to help them feel more confident with lashes or whatever the service is. I want them to have a space where if they need to just relax and be silent, that's the space for that. Or if they need to talk about something, or if they just need a break from the everyday life that they live, I want to be that safe space. And so I love to incorporate that into my services and ultimately create an experience. I want it to be easy. I want it to be easy to find me. I want it to be easy to book. I want it to be easy to come in. I want it to be a really easy service. I don't want to make it complicated. And I want the follow-up to be super easy. I want the communication to be easy. And so that is my goal when I am creating an experience. And a lot of it has to do with I think just who I am as like a person. I want that myself. So I want to give that to my clients.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so cool. I love that you have built you built the 2 successful salons that you have through focusing on customer service, guest experience, and also the add-ons and the retail sales. And that we're talking about those 2 things combined today. And I think that they meld into each other, right? Because by offering and educating about those add-ons and upsells and products, you're also creating a better guest experience. Is that right?
Yeah, because I'm building my know, like, and trust factor. So I want my clients to trust me in my judgment and what I have to say. And, as I'm genuine with my clients and educating them about all of these products and the services that I offer, it's always in their best interest. I don't come off cheesy, and I don't want my clients to feel that. I'm very honest. If my client has a question I don't have the answer to, I'm going to go find the answer for you, because I want you to know that we're on the same team here. But ultimately, when it comes down to retailing and adding on, I mean, the client is likely buying their face wash or their products from somewhere. Why are they not buying them from you? And when it comes to them not purchasing retail items from you, it likely has to do because you either don't know what you're talking about. So when you're going to sell your product, you're not coming off in a manner that is confident and that you know what you're talking about and that it's going to be the best thing for the client. But also you maybe don't know how to approach a sale, or you leave it up to the client. You leave it in their hands. And my goal with every single client that I have is I'm bringing out 2 retail items to offer to them that are going to be best for their skin or their lashes, their brows. I have an array of products that I have here at the shop, but I know as new estheticians, you don't always have this huge retail section to offer clients. And so it can be really overwhelming when you're thinking about, okay, what product line am I going to retail? How am I going to bring it up to my clients? And how do I know what's going to be best for what? And so I do cover a lot of this in my coaching. We can, specifically go into what's going to be best for your business. But I think also just picking like 2 to 3 products and just selling them like crazy, because as you sell a product, you're going to be more comfortable. You're going to be more confident. And I always have cute little catchphrases that I remember for each product. So when I'm selling it, I know exactly what I'm going to say, which is important because you want to come off like you know what you're talking about. And ultimately you do when you know the products you're working with. But I think that retail is just one of the easiest ways to increase your income. Yeah. And it's not sold enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about like the income potential, because I want people to get excited about the retail side of things and also like the upsells and add-ons. is the dollar potential for upselling add-ons and retails, like of your business, and then maybe some of the coaching clients that you've had? Like, what's at stake here? What's on the line if we don't do it? And what can we gain if we do it really well?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I've had students who have literally doubled their income by adding on services. And I had one of my students, one of her first, not her first months in business, but her first year in business, she was averaging about, $1,200 a month in her beauty business. She was specializing in brows, and she had just started to learn lash lifts. She was focusing more on brow waxing, which is a lower price point. So you're talking, $30, $35 for a brow wax. And I'm like, girl, we got to get you to elevate that brow, that basic brow wax. And so we created a bougie brow wax. And that was going to be something that we added on a hydro jelly mask for, post-inflammation.
Yeah.
Calm the skin. She was going to do a fill-in. She was going to do a complimentary cold globe massage on the brows. We took a basic $35 brow wax and we elevated it with add-ons and created something that was $75. So clients were now, coming in and yes, spending double, but the value of what they were getting was immensely increased.
Amazing.
And so she was able to do that, and she had a better month in January of this year than she did in December of last year. So it just goes to show that when you are focusing on building a service that's an all-inclusive, it's going to have more value to the client. You don't know if your client's going to say no, right? You can't assume that they're going to say no. You have to just offer it to them, create the option, and watch as your clients will flock to something like that. And, again, then we brought in products for her to use to sell for aftercare. So she did start to do brow lamination. So we're talking about like brow gels and brow conditioners, brow pencils, things for her to create a package for her clients. So that way, if a client loved how she filled in their brows, they were able to get the products after.
Yeah.
Versus having to go to Target or go somewhere to get these products. They were able to just leave the shop with them. Clients love to have something in hand. They love to be able to hold something at the end of their appointment. And so it kind of just encompasses the whole experience by they get to just leave with that. But when you're talking about retail add-ons, the profit of that is you're making obviously the 50% of what you are initially putting into it. So you're automatically getting that income back and making, more on that. But I think if you just think about they're buying their face wash somewhere, like they're buying their products somewhere. And when you explain the benefits, you could be easily taking $100, you did a $100 service, $100 facial, and they're going to go now and spend $200 on their skincare products. That could be a whole routine, right?
Yeah.
But we know that retail goes hand in hand with the facial that they just got, because we know that 80% of results come from home care, 20% of your results come from in the treatment room. So your client has to be doing their part in taking care of their skin. And I think educating your client on the importance of that is where you'll be able to seal the deal with, okay.
I didn't get that.
Where you'll be able to seal the deal with, okay, now they're able to have the whole routine. So when you come back for your next facial, you're going to get even better results because you are taking care of your skin at home.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say. But you could easily take, again, $100 facial, even if they grab 2 products. The product line I have here is a professional line product. It's kind of a middle price range. So you're talking, $30 to $40 for a face wash, or, $60 to $70 for a moisturizer. So again, you are talking about a higher price point than if they were to go to the drugstore and buy something. But you also want to reiterate the benefits of what they are using at home and the high potency of these products and how they're going to be able to see better results versus, another brand of products.
Yeah, I love how you explain that. And retail is so important. I've heard people say before, like, you survive on services, but you thrive and you can retire on retail. So it's such an important part, especially in the aesthetics world. So what are some ways that someone who maybe, okay, let's say someone does waxing and like their bread and butter is like let's say leg waxing or like bikini waxing, and like they're doing okay and like they're chugging along, but they feel like I could be making more money. Like I feel like it's not like every client that comes in, I feel like it's a struggle for me to like pay my bills and everything. What are the steps that they can do, and what are some of the best ways to start building up either your service offerings or your menu, to implement some of those like add-ons and upsells and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if you're a waxer and you do want to focus on building your revenue with that, I would definitely think about how can you maximize each client that comes in. So instead of focusing necessarily on brand new clients, I want to focus on my clients coming in for her bikini wax and what else can I get her to wax during that time. If you're a waxer and you specialize in waxing, chances are you're a speed waxer, so you're pretty fast. So adding on an underarm, an upper lip, or if they're getting their bikini waxed, maybe you do like an upper thigh or like an inner thigh or something like that. Those add-ons aren't going to cost you much more time. I'd probably say maybe like 5-10 minutes if you put it in perspective. And so if you're booking out a bikini wax and it's taking you, let's just say 30 minutes, even though it probably doesn't take you that long, but if it's 30 minutes, what else can you squeeze into that 30 minutes to increase that rate of those 30 minutes? So if the client is coming in for a $30 brow wax, a $20 underarm, and a $20 lip wax, those prices probably aren't accurate, but let's just say, so that's $70 you're now making if you can get them onto all three of those services versus just the 30 that you were initially making in those 30 minutes. So I think it's important to think about what are some quick add-ons. And again, if your client is going to come and say, oh, I just shaved my underarms, I can't do that today. That's perfect. Let's add it on next time. We don't even have to ask them, did you want to add it on next time? Did you want to try it? Oh, it's okay. You're not ready for it today. Let's just go ahead and add it on to your next appointment.
Right.
And see what the response is from them. When we leave it in the customer's court to say yes or no necessarily or make that decision, that's when we can lose those add-ons. And so something that I'll do in my business, if it's a client that's been coming to me consistently a few times and they are a little bit more hesitant to add on or they're not interested, I'll do either like a 50% off, or if I have time, I'll do a complimentary like lip wax just so they can experience it. Something small like that's not going to cost me a lot of money, but in the long run, when we think about the longevity of the client and how much value of that client is, it's going to now increase that client by $20 for that lip wax.
Absolutely.
So when you think of, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask about a lot of my students and community members specialize in facials. So do you have any like suggestions for how to start structuring those kind of packages and offerings for facials?
Yes, I love facials. We actually have a membership here at my salon. So clients do come back monthly for their memberships. And at first, I started out my membership packages with, you just get the basic facial. And then as a member, you get 50% off all add-ons. Add-ons would be dermaplaning, high frequency, LED, oxygen infusion. Really depends on what kind of machines you have. You could do microcurrent. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do depending on what state you're in. And so at first I was like, okay, I'll just do half off as like a member benefit. But then I realized it was getting a little confusing. Clients would say, okay, what's my total today? And how did, the add-ons sometimes can be confusing if you are leaving so many choices and so many options out there for clients. So after being in my treatment room and realizing, you know what, to elevate my client experience, I want this to be an all-inclusive. I don't want to have to sit there and add on every single facial or ask them, okay, do you want to do this today or not? I didn't really want that conversation with my members. And so I wanted to just make it all inclusive, which is what we did. So I raised the price point. And so now instead of clients coming in for a facial package that was $135, they're coming in for a facial package that's $195, and they're just getting everything. They get the dermaplaning, the high frequency, the LED, the oxygen infusion. And I am taking that guesswork out of it. I'm taking that part of, do I really need it? Do I want it? Well, if you get the all-inclusive, you're just going to get it anyways. And if you don't want it, that just is the part of the deal, right? So when you're thinking about creating packages or when you're thinking about creating your service menu, it's important to think about the perceived value of the client and how are they viewing this service. So are you going to pay $195 for a service where you have to still add on things and pay more money, or do you want to just pay the $195 and you get everything that we have to offer? So your facial is like maxed out with benefits. And so I was hesitant at first because I think a lot of times we're hesitant to raise our prices. We're hesitant to do these things. We don't know how clients are going to take that and how that is going to be perceived. But realistically, I had all of my clients who are members upgrade to the all-inclusive package and the all-inclusive membership because they wanted it all. They wanted the max benefit. They were already adding it on, so I just created that option for them. And so when you are thinking about your facial menu and your service menu, it's super important that you simplify it for the client. I always say a confused consumer doesn't book, they don't buy. They have to think a lot about it. They're overwhelmed with options and choices. They're not going to book it and they're not going to come in for a service. And that's why I also have on my facial menu, I break it down by time. So I have a 30-minute facial, a 50-minute facial, a 60, and a 75. So I basically have 4 facials that I offer. And inside that facial, I can add on and I can talk about the benefits of all of these things with clients. But my goal is to get them on our all-inclusive membership so that they get max benefits every single time that they come. But I think just making sure that the client, it's easy for the client to understand. I think that's super important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess my next question is so part of this being able to upsell and add on and that kind of thing is reworking our menus. Once we've, really looked at them and decided, okay, this needs to be included in this facial, for example. Or, I can create a package for waxing that includes this, and this, etc.
Yes.
Once we've decided that, how do we go about talking to clients about it? Because it's not just about structuring it, it's also about presenting these options to clients. Yes. So what kind of tips do you have for someone who's a little bit shy or a little bit awkward or not great at selling these kind of things?
So I think that sometimes when we are shy or when we are awkward, it's because we haven't really found our voice yet. We haven't really found the phrasing or how we want to speak on it that works for us, that we feel comfortable with. And I always say nothing grows in the comfort zone. You have to put yourself out there. If a client doesn't know that you now offer this package, it's not going to get booked. And if it's not getting booked, you're going to get discouraged. And it's a trickle effect. And so in order to help to eliminate that, you have to kind of put yourself out there and sell yourself and say, hey, even if you're awkward at first, at least you're practicing and at least you're putting yourself out there. And it could be something simple like, hey, so you normally come in for your bikini wax and I just wanted you to know that I just put together this, whether it's an irresistible offer or whether it's a package special, that I just put this together and I think that next time we should book it for you. And even if it's awkward like that, at least you're practicing and saying okay, well, that didn't probably sound the best. I didn't really sound confident. So next time I'm going to switch a word out or I'm going to try a different approach.
Yeah.
When you're adding on and selling, I feel like the conversation should start from the very beginning of the service so you know what you're going to be doing during the service. You can't finish your bikini wax and she's ready to get off the table and say, hey, did you want to add an underarm wax on today? You have to talk about it from the beginning. And it's oh, do you have any trips coming up? Do you have anything planned? Spring and summer right around the corner, and we're going to be, wearing cute tank tops or whatever. But hey, do you get your underarms waxed anywhere? Or hey, have you ever tried waxing your underarms? And see what they say. Oh no, I just shave them. Oh my gosh. Okay. You have to try waxing your underarms because it is seriously a game changer. I could go 3 to 4 weeks without having to do anything. I don't feel my regrowth. It's not prickly. There's no stubble there. And it's a quick, painless strip, just like, your bikini. And we could do it right now. It's super easy process. But I think just building that conversation up to how can I get them to understand the benefit for them?
Yeah.
And, talking about that in the service. But I also think, like, again, the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you put yourself out there, the better you become. I was not great at adding on and upselling when I first started. And I had to start slowly. I think I first started off with doing sheet masks while I was doing lash extensions. Like, my client's already on my table. She's already lying here. I could throw a sheet mask on. Everyone's skin is so dry. And it's an easy $12 add-on that I did to increase my rate that I have. But I think we'll overthink it sometimes, and we do lack that confidence. And so it takes practice. You have to practice. You're not going to be the best person at adding on or upselling right away. You're going to find your footing the more that you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great words of advice. Okay, let's talk about guest experience, because I know that that's a huge part of what you talk about and how you've built your business as well. So can you tell us a little bit about what your guest experience is like when someone comes into one of your salons?
Yeah, so my guest experience starts before I even meet them in person. So that has to do with how my website is built. Am I easy to find? So I'm on Google, I'm on Yelp, I get reviews on there, I ask for reviews, but that way when they find me, they know that I have a website, I have a booking online platform, so it's easy for them to book with me, easy to see the services that we offer. And with that, when they come in, clients are always greeted by their first name. So that means that we're checking our schedules for the day and we're seeing, okay, it's 1 o'clock. Stephanie's coming in. I'm going to go ahead and greet her with, hey, Stephanie, it's nice to meet you, or welcome in. Or if it's a client that's been in before, like, hey, Stephanie, it's so good to see you again. I'm so glad you're here. I want the client to be noticed first and foremost. I want them to be called by name, because we just feel good when that happens to us. We want to be remembered, especially if it's a repeat client and they walk in and you're like, hey, do you have an appointment? Yes, of course they have an appointment. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
But I think with multiple employees, I really, really try to hit home with the first name greeting. We have drinks and snacks. We have a little mini fridge for the client. We always offer that to them and make sure that clients know that it's free. A lot of clients think they have to pay for that, but it's free. It's complimentary, free drinks, free snacks. We have a restroom that's available to clients. We have comfortable chairs for clients to sit in. We have our oil diffuser going. We have our music going. Our selection of music is, I like just like coffee house vibes, just like relaxing vibes. I'm not going to put on like pop or rap, and that's just for me and my setting in my salon. I know everybody is so different, but I want to set the tone right when they walk in. I don't know what clients are walking in from when they come in. They could be a middle school teacher and they've had a crazy chaotic day and they just want to like zone out for a second, and so I want to create that space for them. We always, again, go out and grab the client, introduce ourselves. I'm Catie, I'm going to be your esthetician for the day, bring them back into the room. That's where we have a consultation. I go through their, consent forms and ask me if they have any questions. And I always, like, if it's a first-time facial client, I always ask them, have you had a facial before? And this just kind of opens the door for me to be able to talk about what we offer here, but also like how to get in the bed properly, because I can't assume that my client knows how to get in the bed.
Yeah.
Very basic. I think a lot of times we think everyone knows how to get into a facial bed, but I had never had a facial before I went to beauty school. And so I didn't know, the gown is not worn like a cape. Like, it's worn, around your chest, but people don't know that. So you have to tell clients sometimes, bring it back to the basics. But, in the bed when the clients are here, no matter what service we offer, except for waxing, we have heated bed warmers so the client gets into a nice, cozy, warm bed. I think about experiences I've had where I've gone to get a massage and I get in and the bed is cold and I'm like, this is kind of like chilly and I'm a little uncomfortable. I think about that and I don't want my clients to feel like that. So we have bed warmers, we have leg bolsters. If a client needs a neck pillow, we have pillows. I always come in and ask the client, are you comfortable? And this goes for lash lifts or lash extensions, facials, anything that you're doing. Always ask the client if they're comfortable. Even if it's a repeat client, because you never know. Maybe the headband is off, maybe the eye patch is off. And even though it's something that we've done before, I never want to just assume that they're comfortable. I'm always going to ask them.
Absolutely.
So, I will go through my service, and that's when I can talk about, their skin concerns, or I can talk about what their goals are. I also don't want the client to feel obligated to speak during the service. So whatever service I offer, I'll always let them know, did you want to relax during your facial today, or did you want me to share with you what I'm doing during your treatment? Did you want me to educate you during your treatment? And some clients will say, oh, I just want to relax. That's great. That's fine. I will introduce products I've used on you at the end of the treatment. And, that just is what it is. I want them to enjoy their experience. We know that talking about the retail products and the add-ons during the service and introducing it during the service is super beneficial to being able to seal the deal on the outside of the treatment room.
Mm-hmm.
But if my client wants to relax, I'm going to respect that boundary, and I'm going to just relax, not talk their ear off.
Yeah.
But I have to ask my clients and engage what they want for their service, because they're paying for it. I'm just providing the service. So we do that. My clients come out, we have water for them, and that's when I'll talk about products that they can use at home to increase the benefits of the facial they just got. So I'll lead them through that. We have little aftercare cards or little aftercare kits for clients. If it's a first-time guest, I will offer them a sheet mask complimentary. If it's your first time here with us, go home, use it in the next few days, hydrate your skin, and it introduces our skincare line of products to them.
Yeah, that's a
and
good
then
idea.
So then before they leave, I always pre-book my clients. So after the checkout process, I'm always like, all right, let's get you back on my books. I don't ask my client, did you want to rebook your facial? Again, I don't leave it in the hands of the client. I want them to know that I want them to come back.
Yeah.
So I will take the initiative to get them to rebook and let them know that, okay, I'd like to see you back in 4 weeks for your facial. So I have an opening on April 17th at 2 p.m. Does that work for you? And sometimes clients are like, yeah, that works, put me in. And I can always take it a step further by asking, did you want a standing appointment? Do you want to come every Monday at 2 p.m., every 4 weeks, Monday, 2 p.m., and just put you in the books for the rest of the year, Some clients will love that, and some clients like, oh, no, my schedule changes, which is fine, totally fine. So I'll get them pre-booked, and if a client does say, I have to go home and check my schedule, which is what a lot of people will say. Well, actually, not a lot of people, but a lot of my students say that their clients will, oh, I have to go home and check my schedule. Oh, I have to go home and check my schedule. So I always tell them, okay, that's fine. Totally understand. Just make sure that you do reschedule as soon as you can, because my books are filling up. I want to create scarcity, right?
Yeah.
I don't want them to think that I'm open. I want them to know, like, oh, she's filling up. I need to get my spot. And let them know, I want you to get a day and time that works for you. So just make sure you let me know whenever you're ready to reschedule. But I'll take it a step further, and during my follow-up with them, I always send a follow-up text about 24 to 48 hours, which just continue that conversation of, hey, did you get a chance to check your schedule? I want to make sure I get you on,
right,
for a date that works best for you. I, again, don't want to necessarily leave my books in the hands of a client. I want to guarantee my income, and I want to make sure that I know how much money I'm going to be bringing in. So I do know what's my budget, how much am I going to be making. But after our clients leave, we always follow up 24 to 40 hours after, ask them, how are you liking your lash lift? How does your skin feel? I'm also checking for any reactions, anything like that. If they did get a skincare routine, I'm sending them a detailed email or text on how to use their skincare so they feel confident. It's not just come in for a service and then you leave. I'm building relationships here.
Yeah.
And by building relationships, you're building your clientele.
Yeah, that is so good. It seems like, I would say, like, the key word that comes to mind when you're explaining all that is like intentionality. Like, you've thought about every single thing.
Yes. It's important to be intentional, because when you're in a relationship, those intentions are, you want to make sure your intentions are true and that you are showcasing that, and that you're not just kind of all over the place and, oh yeah, I'll just text you to book in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Or, how often do you say that and then you don't follow up with the client, or you don't reach out, and then the client never gets back on your books, and that client is now going somewhere else for facials because you never followed up with them.
Oh yeah.
So, right? It's like, if you want to build it's like you're dating someone. I always like use the example of blind dating. If you go on a first date with someone and then they're like, okay, see you later, and like that's the extent of the end of the conversation, you're like, okay, well, do they want to see me again? Did they have fun? Like, what, like, are you going to text me, or what's going on here? I don't want to leave that in my client's mind. I want them to know that I am so glad they came in today. I'd love to have you come back, and I'm going to check in with you in about 2 to 3 days just to see how you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It creates a whole experience for them. So why would they want to go get a facial somewhere else if that esthetician's not doing those things?
Yeah, I love that. You have created such a cool, like, I guess it's like a checklist, but also just like a protocol, not just like for the facial or for the waxing, but like for the whole thing, start to finish. I think that's so great. So many people are missing that. I especially like the follow-up part. I feel like a lot of people are missing that.
Well, I think also you're not really taught this in beauty school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not taught to build relationships. You're taught a skill, how to do services.
Yeah.
And the whole customer service part of it, we forget, like, we're in the service industry. We are serving people, and you can't have a bad attitude. You can't forget to talk to clients. Like, it's all encompassing.
Yeah.
And I think that there's just a really big lack of education on it. There's a really big lack of the importance behind it, because when I say you should be following up with clients, some estheticians look at it like, oh, something else I have to do because I'm wearing all the hats in my business. And now it's like something else I have to do. This is so exhausting. But also thinking, like, when I coach my students, we figure out how to automate things like that. So is there an email you can automate? Is there a text you can automate? Is there something that that takes that, physically doing it out of it? So that way you still can reach out to those clients, but not feel super overwhelmed with all of the things that we have to do.
Yeah.
But I have seen a lot of my students' businesses grow. Like, they've been able to double their monthly income just by adding on upselling and creating an experience. So clients, if you get a scalp massage while you get a lash lift from your artist, why would you want to go, and you love the artist, why would you want to go get a lash lift somewhere else that doesn't add that on?
Exactly.
So if you can do all of that in your services, you already have a leg up and a benefit for clients to come to you.
I love it. I think that's a great place to end. Catie, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for showing us like all these different ideas and possibilities. I love your attitude. I love what you've done with your businesses. I love like how easy you make it seem. So thank you so much. I appreciate you and everything that you bring to this industry. If someone wants to work further with you, if they want to learn from you, if they want to maybe get some coaching from you, how can they connect?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's Catie D Artistry, Catie with the C, Catie D Artistry. That's my Instagram, but it's also my website too. So catiedartistry.com, and it has my coaching packages on there. I do month-to-month coaching. I also have like a 2-week option. I also do like lash lift, brow lamination online courses. I do have a student to CEO beauty business building course that is online as well. So there are a lot of ways to work with me, but reach out to me via Instagram and we can totally get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catie. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us.
Thanks for having me, Stephanie.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.